Did you?
Adam Levine.
Hell
This is a true story. So I was a bouncer in LA for a long time. And I was at the bar. And it was like one of those dead nights. And this dude walks in. And I remembered him because Amy had the Maroon 5 CD.
Right.
You will be loved. Yeah. Or whatever I was just like.
I can sing all the words.
Yeah. Well, it was like, whose wife was he fucking in that video? Like Tom Hanks' wife was in it or something. And I'm like, is the guy with tattoos and nipple rings about to plow Tom Hanks' wife? I think that's the video if I remember right. But he came in. And he's with this, like, just unbelievable smoke show of a chick, right? Like, one of the hottest women I've ever seen. And all of a sudden, I get a call like, hey, Josh, we got a guy who needs to get thrown out at the bar. I'm like, all right. I come in, and I look, and I'm like, oh, my God, it's the fucking Maroon 5 guy. And this is always a nightmare when you have to throw out celebrities, because you're just like, here we go. And this was before, like, everyone had cell phones.
Do you know who I am?
Yeah. So I go up, and he's, like, just passed out drunk on the bar, like, all the way asleep, drooling. And his perfect 10 girlfriend's just sitting there like, you know, they didn't even have smartphones. She was just sitting there like fucking hammering a martini, if I remember right. And I kind of do like, hey man, you can go sleep at home. He's like, I'll sleep right here. And I was like, no, you're going to go sleep at home. You know, have a nice night. It's cool. Like we've all been there. And he stands up and immediately I was like, holy fuck. I'm like, this guy's a lot bigger than I thought. And this thought raced through my mind. I was like, oh my God, because you're faced with a decision, right?
Yeah.
You're like, am I going to fucking just swing hard on this guy and get fired? Or do I try to do my job properly, you know, like Patrick Swayze in Roadhouse? Like, do I be nice until you can't?
You got Dalton
and run the risk that this guy who's bigger than I think and probably exercises a lot more than me is going to land a fucking shot and knock me out.
I bet he'd whip your ass.
I mean, he
no offense to you.
It was. I mean, back then I was in really good shape and stuff, but whatever. I was like, there was a shot. You know how fights go. You never know. Like one wrong shot.
They have like personal trainers and all that shit, man.
Who knows what this guy's doing? Like he probably has like wire stunt teams and shit. So I was like, I cannot be the guy that gets knocked out by Maroon 5 guy. Thankfully, his girlfriend was just like, I'm over it. And she wanted to go. So they left. But in my mind, I was like, oh my God, like, what do you do in that scenario?
Am I going to have to fight Adam Levine?
I faced this in high school, right? When I was a high school wrestler, I wrestled 215, and then I lost down my senior year to wrestle 171 because our captain blew his knee out, right? And it was one of those, like, I was gigantic for 171, and I was pretty small for 215, right?
Right.
Well, one tournament, the fucking pairings get announced. In my first match, I had to wrestle this lady. At 171, so she was not a small lass, right?
No.
And she had the Eminem haircut. That's what I remember most, like back when Slim Shady was a thing. And you're sitting there, and again, you're like, how do I play this? Because you're like, you don't want to be the guy that's like pile driving.
Just whip her
your
ass.
female, opponent. But if I hold back and it goes wrong, and then they're like, did you just take 3 rounds to like not defeat that lady? Or
it's a lose-lose.
What if she's like sick with it, right? So I underestimate her. She comes out, fucking dumps me on my head and pins me. And then you're like, okay, well, and also, you know, it's not 2019. This was small town Indiana
in the 90s.
At the turn of the 2000s. So like losing to a girl back then would have been like,
it's a death sentence.
Mom, Dad, we got to move.
We got to go.
We have guys that drive tractors to school. We got to leave this school, man. So I came out and we kind of went for a lockup. And I did like a little hip toss and I pinned her like fast. And I remember being like, you get that immediate rush, like, yeah, my move worked and I won. And I stood up and it was just, boo! Just the crowd like razzing the shit out of me. And you're like
I said, so
what am I going to do?
You can't win that. You can't win that.
So then it was, Griffey's the guy who has to face girls.
Yeah.
You know, I was like the Andy Coleman, like, oh, nice hip toss on the girl. And I'm like, she's in my weight class. She signed up. But like, so that and the Maroon 5 guys, those were like my 2 biggest fight. It's not just like I'm going to get my ass kicked. You're like, there's like social ramifications out there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if you square up with Adam Levine and you do knock him out, say, then all the headlines are going to be like, dickhead bouncer punches at you, and you're fucked. You're never work again. Like, you're done.
They're going to read that story and be like, guy who used to play in the NFL bouncer, which I was never. Right. I was about 6'1", 240.
Right.
I was not like this massive fucking bouncer.
Done. It's a death sentence.
Then I'm just like, God damn it, dude. I think that one was a little better than the high school wrestling one, because it was also the 90s.
I'm just glad you whipped a girl's ass. Good for you, man.
It's not proud. I'm not proud, but I made my choice.
Well, yeah.